Okay, editor's note before we jump in. Apparently, the footage I recorded of me playing Doom for the B-roll didn't work at all, so you get some fucking recycled CSGO footage from an old video. Yeah, that's how it is. Hey guys, second video of 2022, my script is wrong. I know this is a little different to my usual kind of John and Jane content, and that video is actually mostly done as I'm writing this script, but I think I'd like to mix up the content a little bit to make content creation a little more fun. It's becoming a little grueling to edit those videos, so I thought I'd mix it up here and there. Maybe we'll get back to John and Jane afterward. This video isn't a response to a video as much as it is a response to a person. There is a professor of biochemistry at, I think it's pronounced Lehi or Lehi, I don't know, Lehigh University by the name of Michael Behe, who is a proponent of intelligent design. Of course, being a scientifically minded man, he must propose some evidence for this, which we'll be addressing in this video. I will be explaining some of his beliefs on my own, because he does meander a little in the main video I saw, so I'll leave links in the description in case you think I'm misrepresenting him. Michael Behe is a Christian young earth creationist and academic who was quite famous among the young earth creationist community and has been on channels like TFP Student Action where they claimed he destroyed Darwin in 5 minutes. I fail to see how he's a good biochem teacher unless he's got some serious cognitive dissonance. I find this likely. His perspective is that there are certain things we find in biology, specifically at the microscopic cell level, that are irreducibly complex, as he calls it, and therefore evolution by natural selection from a unicellular common ancestor 4.5 billion years ago cannot have happened. This is, at the surface, a reasonable perspective, but we have to dive deeper to see why it's not. Irreducible complexity is a term I brought up in the last paragraph. What is it? It's the general concept that you cannot reduce a machine or other mechanism down one constituent part at a time. It is so complex that removing any part of it breaks it. Therefore, it's irreducibly complex. This, according to Behe, exists in biology as well, and because evolution by natural selection can only build one piece at a time, it cannot create such a complex organism, because that would require evolution putting in place multiple new mechanisms at the same time, which is impossible. The example that I've seen him use more than once is bacterial flagellum. In his simplified explanation, a flagellum is that thing that sticks out the back of some microscopic organisms that allows them to move around. You've almost certainly seen it on sperm diagrams in sex ed. It's that thing at the back that wiggles around and allows the sperm to move. If you've ever played Spore, it's one of the only pieces you start with. His assertion is that the flagella on bacteria are irreducibly complex. All parts of a bacterial flagellum require all other parts to function, so how could it have possibly evolved? From this, he concludes that the only reasonable explanation is that all life arose from some designer. There are 2 problems with this idea that should be blatantly obvious to most people. First, we'll look at how the bacterial flagella isn't irreducibly complex, and then we'll see how even if it was, that doesn't necessarily lead to an intelligent designer. The specific claim of the irreducibility of flagella is that they require the interaction of 40 different proteins, and that to take any of these away renders it unusable, and therefore it could not have evolved through evolution by natural selection. The first problem with this argument is that the phrase bacterial flagellum implies there's only one. There are actually thousands, which vary massively. The one often in mention, the one with 40 different proteins and such, is specifically the bacterial flagellum in E. coli. However, that's less relevant to the claim, so we'll move on. Arguing semantics never helped anyone. The real problem is that E. coli doesn't have 40 unique proteins in the flagella. Yes, it has 40 proteins, but only 23 of these are actually found in all other kinds of flagella. And what's more, only 2 of these 23 proteins shared in all flagella are actually unique to flagella. It's incredibly dishonest to act like this isn't the case, because from here, it's remarkably easy to postulate that the flagella likely evolved from another system into what it is today. I believe current theories are that it evolved out of a type 3 secretion system, but that's a little too in-depth for the sake of this video. The second problem is that even if we were to take that aside, it does not logically follow that just because there's some unexplained event in evolution, that therefore God is real, the Christian God is real, the Christian God designed everyone, and the Christian God designed everyone 6,000 years ago. Especially not when looking against the insurmountable geological, historical, and biological evidence against it. It's a complete non sequitur. The premises do not logically lead to the conclusion, but we've already established that the premises are false, so it's done for. If you still don't believe me, then I've got one last piece of evidence for you. The Kitzmiller v. Dover Area School District trial of 2005. After the Dover Area School District changed its biology curriculum to include the teaching of intelligent design, 3 board members resigned, science teachers refused to read it, and 11 parents of students enrolled in the school filed a lawsuit against the school for attempting to teach religious dogma. Michael Behe was called as a witness for the defense in this case. After some crushing cross-examination by the plaintiff's attorney, he admitted that there are no peer-reviewed articles by anyone advocating for intelligent design supported by pertinent experiments or calculations which provide rigorous accounts of how intelligent design of any biological system occurred. Moments later, he said, in reference to a question about astrology, "Under my definition, a scientific theory is a proposed explanation which focuses or points to physical, observable data and logical inferences. There are many things throughout the history of science which we now think to be incorrect which nonetheless would fit that definition. Yes, astrology is in fact one, and so is the ether theory of the propagation of light, and many other theories as well." It doesn't get more conclusive than that. The man himself said it. But it does. With the judge of the case writing, "We therefore find that Professor Behe's claim for irreducible complexity has been refuted in peer-reviewed research papers and has been rejected by the scientific community at large." Is he cognitively dissonant? I think so. This is going to sound fake, but it isn't. This is a direct quote, again from the judge, about the Kitzmiller v. Dover trial. In fact, on cross-examination, Professor Behe was questioned concerning his 1996 claim that science would never find an evolutionary explanation for the immune system. He was presented with 58 peer-reviewed publications, 9 books, and several immunology textbook chapters about the evolution of the immune system. However, he simply insisted that this was still not sufficient evidence of evolution and that it was not good enough. I genuinely believe that Michael Behe is so far down the rabbit hole, he simply cannot accept when he's proven wrong. It's a little sad, really. The other alternative is that he intentionally lies to stay relevant, but I find that unlikely. We would do well to remember Hanlon's razor. Do not attribute to malice what can be adequately explained by stupidity. My conclusion. This is it. The end of the video. This might be shorter than most because I don't actually have a source material to respond to or a real conclusion. I mean, I kind of said it all. As always, if you want to debate me, just leave a comment or take a look at the email in my About section. Stay safe, and I will catch you next time.